Welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump right into things today. We are unpacking a deeply moving short story from 1909 by the legendary M Montgomery called The Little Black Doll. Now, on the surface, it might sound like just a simple children's tale, but as we peel back the layers today, you're going to see it's actually a masterclass in exploring sacrifice, the harsh reality of superficial judgments, and the absolute power of hidden worth. It's really a story about what happens when someone is pushed to the absolute limit for the sake of love and the wild, unexpected rewards that can come from that.
Listen to this quote for a second. When the only person in the world who loves you is going to die, there is nothing you would not do for her. I mean, wow, that is the beating heart of our story right there. We are immediately thrown into this super high-stakes, emotional dilemma with our protagonist, little Joyce. Joyce is this young orphan girl with a profound, almost devastating level of empathy. And she's about to make an unthinkable sacrifice for literally the only person who has ever shown her genuine affection. But to really grasp why her choice is such a massive deal, we first need to understand the environment she's trapped in.
Section 1. The Unloved Orphan Girl. Superficiality in the Marshall household. Montgomery sets up this huge, stark dichotomy right from page 1. On one hand, you have the Marshall family. They are stately, wealthy, and completely obsessed with appearances. I mean, Grandmother Marshall dotes on Joyce's cousin, Chrissy, simply because Chrissy has golden hair, rosy cheeks, and plays with these pretty wax dolls. But then, on the other hand, you have little Joyce. She's thin, awkward, and considered painfully plain by everyone around her. Because she doesn't have the superficial charm the Marshalls value, she's completely unloved by her own grandmother. In fact, Joyce's only companions in the world are Denise, a sick French servant girl, and one very, very unusual possession.
Now here's where the lore gets really cool. The artifact that actually gives our story its title, the Little Black Doll, isn't just a toy. It's a piece of polished black wood recovered from a grave in Egypt. We are talking about an artifact buried right alongside a little girl in the court of the pharaohs roughly 4,000 years ago. Joyce's late father brought it back for her, and because of that deep personal connection, it's her most treasured possession in the entire world. Her cousin Chrissy constantly mocks it for being ugly, but Joyce sees its true intrinsic value. But as much as she loves this doll, a massive crisis is looming that's going to force her to weigh its value against something so much bigger.
Section 2. A Guying Girl's Wish. The Inciting Incident.
So Denise, the French servant who has been literally the only person kind to Joyce, making her little cakes and telling her stories, is lying in a bare kitchen chamber, dying of consumption. The doctor has delivered the absolute grim reality. She has maybe a few days left to live. And Denise has one final, seemingly impossible request. It turns out the great French-Canadian prima donna, Madame Laurin, is staying at a hotel nearby. Denise, feverish and fading fast, is weeping because she desperately wants to hear Madame Laurin sing just one old French habitant folklore song, the exact kind her mother used to sing to her before she passes away.
If we trace Joyce's journey over just 24 hours, the progression is wild. The night before, she's up in the attic comforting Denise, realizing time is slipping away. The next morning, instead of just crying about it, she boldly confronts the doctor to get the straight truth about Denise's prognosis. Armed with those grim facts, Joyce completely skips the afternoon family carriage ride. Instead, she marches straight down to the shore to approach a mysterious stranger who, you guessed it, happens to be Madame Laurin herself. And later that very same day, Joyce is sneaking a world-famous prima donna up the back stairs of the Marshall house. Her selfless love literally propels her into taking incredibly bold action.
Section 3. A Priceless Sacrifice. Bargaining with the Prima Donna.
You see, Joyce is completely fearless here, mostly because she isn't doing this for herself. Think about this in 3 steps. First, she walks right up to the great singer and just immediately offers up her 4,000-year-old Egyptian doll as payment, her only real treasure. Second, she earnestly, bluntly explains Denise's tragic dying wish. She basically lays it out plainly. When someone you love is dying, you give whatever you have. Period. And third, Madame Laurin is just utterly amazed. Sure, she actually happens to collect dolls from around the world, but more than that, she is deeply moved by this little girl's absolute, unwavering selflessness. She accepts the bargain on the spot and follows Joyce home.
Section 4. The Healing Gift of Song. The climax in the kitchen chamber.
Madame Laurin totally fills that tiny bare room with these glorious, angelic melodies, bringing absolute peace and rapture to the dying Denise. It's this incredibly beautiful moment of closure for the servant girl. But Montgomery pulls a brilliant pivot right here. Madame Laurin, having just sung her heart out, turns to little Joyce and asks the child to sing something back. Joyce is perfectly willing, so she humbly sings Denise's favorite hymn, Lead, Kindly Light, and she does it completely unaware of the absolute powerhouse of a voice she has. The crazy part? Joyce's selfless act of giving has just perfectly positioned her to be truly seen for the very first time in her life.
As soon as Joyce finishes the hymn, Madame Laurin leaps up, just in absolute awe, and says, "Child, do you know what a wonderful voice you have? What a marvelous voice! You will be a great singer someday, far greater than I. I mean, the world-famous prima donna is completely stunned. This awkward, supposedly unloved orphan actually possesses a once-in-a-generation talent. It perfectly proves that immense, true talent so often hides behind the most unassuming, unpolished exteriors."
Section 5. Hidden Worth Revealed. The Resolution.
The fallout from this discovery is fast and honestly, pretty ironic. First off, Grandma Marshall, who, remember, couldn't even stand to look at Joyce a day ago, suddenly views her with this immense newfound respect. Hearing she houses a musical prodigy, Grandma immediately promises to nurture her talent, even insisting they find a prettier way to style Joyce's hair. Classic, right? Second, Madame Laurin pledges to return and personally oversee Joyce's musical training. And third, maybe the sweetest part of all, Madame Laurin refuses to take the 4,000-year-old Egyptian doll. She tells Joyce to keep it, basically declaring that the ancient artifact should serve as the official mascot for the future star.
So, we've come completely full circle. The quote-unquote ugly orphan is suddenly a prized prodigy. Her ancient, so-called ugly doll is now a proud mascot. Think about the whole thematic arc we've been tracking in this explainer. Little Joyce was willing to sacrifice literally the only thing of value she owned, entirely out of pure empathy for another human being. But it was that exact sacrifice, that choice to step out of the shadows and track down Madame Laurin, that acted as the key to unlocking her own massive hidden potential. Ultimately, her selflessness saved her.
Which leaves us with a really powerful thought to take away today. It's all about looking past superficial judgments, just like Madame Laurin did with little Joyce and her ancient toy. So I have to ask you, what little black dolls, what hidden talents, unpolished gifts, or quiet passions are waiting to be discovered in you? Or maybe even in the people around you who are just waiting for someone to finally listen. Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating story with me today. Keep looking for that hidden worth.